Hey, church, just wanted to offer a little devotional thought for you. I've been trying to get this up, but I've been with a crying child, and that makes things difficult, doesn't it? Okay, but I wanted to offer a thought for you out of Exodus 32. If you'll remember in Exodus 32, Israel has just come out of Egypt in what is known as the Exodus. And they are at the foot of Mount Sinai, and their leader, Moses, has gone up on the mountain to receive the law from God, the Ten Commandments. But he's delayed, right? He's taking a while. And we read in verse 1 of chapter 32, when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down from the mountain, the people gathered themselves together to Aaron and said to him, "Up, make us gods who shall go before us. As for this Moses, the man who brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we do not know what has become of him." So Aaron said to them, "Take off the rings of gold that are in the ears of your wives, your sons, and your daughters, and bring them to me." So all the people took off the rings of gold that were in their ears and brought them to Aaron. And he received the gold from their hand and fashioned it with a graving tool and made a golden calf. Now that's very important. That's going to come in in just a second, that detail right there. So Aaron received the gold from their hands and fashioned it with a graving tool and made a golden calf. Clearly guilty here. Bad day for Aaron. Okay? And they said, "These are your gods, O Israel, who brought you up out of the land of Egypt." When Aaron saw this, he built an altar before it. And Aaron made a proclamation and said, "Tomorrow shall be a feast to the Lord." And they rose up early the next day and offered burnt offerings and brought peace offerings. And the people sat down to eat and drink and rose up to play. So meanwhile, Moses is up on the mountain and God tells him what has happened. And he's like, "Are you serious? You got to be kidding me." So he comes down the mountain and he confronts Aaron. Now, I want you to listen to how Aaron responds to being confronted about his sin. I want you to listen how Aaron responds. Verse 21, Moses says to Aaron, "What did this people do to you that you have brought such a great sin upon them?" And Aaron said, "Let not the anger of my Lord burn hot. You know the people, that they are set on evil. For they said to me, 'Make us gods who shall go before us.' As for this Moses, the man who brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we do not know what has become of him. So I said to them, 'Let any who have gold take it off.' They gave it to me, and I threw it into the fire, and out came this calf." I just threw it into the fire, and the calf just popped out. Now, I think that there's a lesson for us here with respect to how we think about our sin. And when we're confronted in our sin, or when we realize that we've sinned, what we tend to do is justify it. And especially, I think this is especially important in light of the fact that many of us are going to be spending more time together than perhaps we had anticipated, with Northam's his injunction that that the schools are closed, right? So we've got a lot of family in the house, right? And so there's this tendency to when we sin, to sort of blame it on at least two things, and both of them are represented in this text. So Aaron, the first thing Aaron says is, "It's these people. You know these people, Moses. It's just that they're difficult and they're hard, right? So, I mean, it's not my fault." And then, so it's people, and then it's circumstances. Watch this. I just took the gold off and I threw it into the fire. Nothing wrong with throwing gold in the fire. And out came this calf. That's literally what the text says. Out popped this calf. I mean, I don't know. It's not my fault. No one to blame really here. It's just these people and these circumstances just kind of produced this calf, and and that's sometimes, I think, how we think about our sin. Well, I got really angry. Well, it's because of the kids and my spouse, and I had a bad day, and I got a phone call. So no one to blame, really. It's just how things are. Or we say something that was harsh, or we don't do something that we should do, and we blame it immediately on the people around us who made us do it, or the circumstances that just caused it. And so what we learned just in this brief episode, and there's so much more we could say about Exodus 32, is that as you're quarantined in your homes together, and you are spending more time with one another than perhaps you anticipated, your sin is going to come out. It is going to happen. It is absolutely going to happen. And when it does, I hope that you will not be like Aaron. I hope that you will not say, well, if you weren't so, and if this house wasn't so, and if we had more of these resources, and if my anxiety wasn't, in other words, we tend to blame just about everything else to the point where it's so ridiculous that it's on par with Aaron saying, this calf just popped out. Not my fault. But it is. It is. And Moses says that in verse 35, then the Lord sent a plague on the people because they made the calf, the one that Aaron made. So Moses doesn't let Aaron off the hook. Don't let yourself off the hook as you do family. In what may be a uniquely challenging time, honor the Lord. And when you do sin, own up to it. I did, ask the people to give me gold. I did make the idol. I'm responsible, and I need to repent to everyone in my family and to the Lord. So let's own it, and let's embrace the grace of the gospel, and let's live together well, even if it's frustrating. And let's allow God to transform us in our circumstances. So hope this is helpful for you. We'll be posting more of these. Sorry I couldn't post this earlier. It was hard. It was hard. And those who are parents, you're like, this guy has no clue. He's a rookie parent. He doesn't even know hard yet. And that's true. But pray for me. Love you guys. See you.